Hey peeps, how are you all doing? Sister Elle here again from Elle Productions, and I have a guest. Yes. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
I go by the title of Rasul Rabbi. Rasul is Arabic for messenger, and Rabbi is Hebrew for teacher or sage.
Right, okay. And so I met this young man on my travels through life, and he taught me some Reiki skills and gave me a level certificate in that area, which I'm very thankful for. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and so today we're going to talk about what you do as being a mystic teacher.
Excellent. Thank you, Ellie.
You're most welcome.
So what I primarily do is I teach mysticism. Mysticism is an approach to spirituality. So in Eastern philosophies, the mystics or the sages are those who normally live a life of reclusiveness in order for them to discover themselves or discover the divine. And what happens is when that's achieved, some of these mystics come out of their shell and teach others to do the same. So Buddha would be considered a mystic. Jesus would be considered a mystic. Muhammad may be considered a mystic, depending on your perception and your perspective on the whole thing.
Right. And do you think, I think people when they think about mysticism, they might think, oh, do I have to be a monk, or do I have to go towards being that kind of monk type person to discover the mysticism inside of me?
That's an excellent way to phrase it. I would say that you don't have to be a monk, but you do need to give time and space. There's this excellent brother on YouTube. I'd like to shout him out if you ever get a chance to watch him. He's called Brother Oba. He practices Lukumi, which is a form of African spirituality. And he says, and when he said it, the dime dropped for me. He says, whether you're working with a deity or an ancestor, or you want to do a spiritual practice, there's two things you got to pay to do those practices: time and space. And it says, so with the art of mysticism, we're living in a modern world now. I cannot expect you to go into any fucking cave, sorry for swearing, right? I can't expect you to go into any cave whatsoever and do any sort of
or on one mountain in one hill on your own.
Yeah, it's we're living in a modern world, so it's about giving yourself the time and the space to explore who you are, mentally, who you are subconsciously, and for lack of a better word, who you are spiritually, because the word spirit itself is a very elusive word.
Yeah.
You know, it's very elusive. As somebody put on Instagram the other days, people say they're spiritual, or people say they're spiritual. So okay, so which spiritual are you? Are you the good one, or are you the bad one? You know.
There's waves to everything, isn't it? Right. There's an up and down and left and right, as they say. So yeah, people will say, oh, this is the way, the only way, or whatever. However, I think your own way literally is inside you, and things like the mysticism more or less bring it out, really, don't they? Or could be seen as like guided steps, or
absolutely. I mean, mysticism, my approach and the way I teach it is called the middle path. So I teach Kabala, and in Kabala they talk about the middle path. In Christianity, there's a bit in the Bible where it says take the straight and narrow road.
Yeah.
And in Buddhism, for those who practice Buddhism, you will know that Buddha set out what he called the middle path, and that's why he said, whatever I say, if it doesn't apply to you, throw it away.
Oh, okay.
Right? But if it applies to you and it touches your soul, then you apply it. Right? Because it's about you. It's not about me. I found my middle way.
Yeah, and your grounding, or where it is that you're heading for. And so, well, this is it. And so everyone's has to find their own in that way. But the journey can be continued together due to opening up doorways or possible pathways that people might not have seen as such.
No, absolutely. I mean, the whole point of mysticism, if we want to bring it to the modern day era, is exploring your subconscious mind. And this is just my perspective, because as much as I teach Kabbalah, I also practice being innovative. So what may be a common Kabbalistic description, I may have a different approach, but I still hold firmly the traditional ground. So for instance, in Kabbalah they have what they call 4 worlds, and they normally name them the physical, my apologies, the physical, the psychological, the spiritual, and the divine. This is normally Western Kabbalah. The Judaic Kabbalah has 5 worlds, and then the last 5th one is where they say the construction of a human being called Adam Kadmon, which means the perfected human being, but the archetype of a human being.
Right.
So not the actual person or the physical construct, but the archetype of a human being. And this is the way I would break it down in modern terms: conscious, subconscious, collective unconscious. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah, you could say collective unconscious, or you could say conscious, subconscious, collective subconscious.
Yeah.
Right? Then
collective conscious? Or?
Then so the collective subconscious, then collective unconscious,
right?
Then universal unconscious.
Right. Okay.
Right? The universe is unconscious.
Yeah.
Right? And so mysticism is really about exploring your subconscious mind, and bringing alive those latent powers or gifts or abilities that we all have as human beings, and finding a way to share that with the world, and finding a way to utilize that to enhance the quality of your life.
Okay. And so when you were talking about the Kabbalah just now, you were talking about the Tree of Life. Would you give us a quick demo?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe?
So, right, excellent. The Tree of Life consists of 10 basic sephirots, they call them, right? And they're circles. And those of you who've probably looked at the Kabbalah briefly will know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who are new, they're just about to see. So these 10 circles represent how the divine functions. Right? And it's, to me, I call it a subconscious blueprint. Right? I call it a subconscious blueprint. Let's do that one. Let's do the Western tree.
Okay.
So this is what. If you can see that, it's a bit.
Let's see if we can.
Yeah. Let's see if we can. Aha! Right. This is what it looks like. Right. So.
Can you see them? It's 10 circles. Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. 10 circles. And in the Kabbalah, what they say is that deity makes himself or itself, I prefer the word use it, right, itself, known through what they call the lightning flash, the descension to earth. This circle here represents earth, but more than earth, it represents materialization. Anything physical, anything that you can see, touch, smell, taste, feel, or hear, is in the realm of here. Now your thought processes, what you think, how you think, is here. They call it yesod. This is represents the subconscious mind, or the bridge into the subconscious mind, because really from a Kabbalistic point all the way up to this sector here, and what I'll do is, yeah, conscious, subconscious.
Okay.
Yeah, and this realm here is called supernal. Yeah, supernal. Yeah. So, yeah, this is how it is. So we've got, this represents your conscious mind. From here all the way up here is your subconscious. This 3 at the top is the supernal. Now, for those of you who are advanced in Kabbalah, I know you're going to point out some stuff. Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm keeping it very basic at the moment, because Kabbalah is like Jupiter. It's forever expanding, and the more you delve into it, the more you keep on delving. Like it doesn't have a limit. It's quite broad, very broad. But just for those who are new to the subject, I'm keeping it very, very simple. Conscious, subconscious, and supernal. The 3 at the top are called the supernal triads. These are the parts of deity or the divine that man receives from. And the funny thing is, Kabbalah, the word Kabbalah means to receive, because your brain is only a receptive tool, right? Right, your brain receives, yeah, because your brain is the one that processes your seeing, processes your smelling, processes your tasting, processes your hearing, yeah. So it receives stimuli from the outside world, and it gives you feedback, and through the feedback you respond or you react, and so on and so forth. But this is the basic construct, and what this teaches you, I'm not going to go into the names of the Sephira and all the rest of it, but what this teaches you is, whenever you've got an issue, or whenever you want to manifest something, or you've got a desire, these circles represent the archetypal forces or forms of desires that every human being will feel. Right? It's been reduced to 10. I'm sure there's more than 10 if we split it into, because subs split forever. Right? But 10 basic archetypal forces that deals with human existence, and also angelic, ooh, yeah, ooh, and demonic, ooh, existence. Yeah, we're getting scary now. Yeah.
But there has to be a balance of both.
That's
equality.
Absolutely.
And the human being can only run on equal juices.
Indeed,
literally.
Indeed, you need both masculine and feminine. Those of you who are familiar with the Hermetic principles, you know that the last Hermetic principle, the 7th one, is called the law of gender, and saying that everything has gender, and within everything masculine is feminine, and within everything feminine there's a masculine. Right? So it's funny you say that, because we could further divide the tree like so. This side is feminine, this side is masculine, and this side is called the pillar of mildness, or the middle pillar. Yeah, and in some books you'll see certain mystics or occultists refer to these 2 pillars as the yin and the yang, and in the middle is the culmination of both. So it also sort of representing the Tau symbol. That's what it's called. Tau symbol. Yeah. So basically, I teach how to utilize this tree to do what Jungian psychology will call working with the shadow. And the reason why is your shadow guy can either be your worst enemy or your good friend. And all of us has been through trauma. Buddhists say all life is suffering, so anything that exists suffers. There's no escape from it, right? But we as humans can practice certain things to alleviate our suffering, yeah. And there's certain behaviors, certain concepts, certain thoughts, and certain spiritual or meditative practices that allow us to have the fortitude to endure life, but not only endure life, but to make life bend to what we need it to be for our growth and our progress.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. And so in like making life bend, this is how we shape and form things in what we want to see in our future. And sometimes we can't physically see it, and this is where I think what we would call faith maybe and trust comes into the picture.
Absolutely.
Isn't that right? And so I think the more that we use those tools or get in touch with those tools within ourselves, because they are there, definitely, the more we can do that and expand our vision of ourselves.
Absolutely.
I think the more it will help us greatly in future lives.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And would you like to give out your details or say anything else?
So
It's been great. I've been waiting to get him for about a year now. He's so busy.
See, you probably can't see that properly.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. But those are my contact details. And if you can't get me on the UK number, get me on Instagram, Rasul, RASUL _Rabbi, RABBI. Yeah. And I've got the monk there because when you go on my Instagram, you'll see that I've shortened my name. On the Instagram, it's Rasul Rabbi Rishi Monk. Sounds like a mantra. I love it.
Yes.
But yeah.
And that's your own name. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, sounds like a mantra. I would chant
it. Is a mantra in itself, isn't it?
Literally.
Exactly, your own personal one. And I think this is what we get to get your own personal chants going and expand your vibe and brighten it up.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, so divine blessings to you all, and I will that all of you meet and match your purpose in this lifetime.
Excellent. And they're the goals that we're aiming for.
That's right.
We're aiming to match our spiritual purpose. We are in this physical body. However, at some point we will be departing. and
that's one of the greatest gifts. Trust me. Trust me. You won't know until you get older that is a great gift. To die is a blessing. To die is a blessing.
That's right. I'm sure we've fulfilled our purpose at that stage. So thank you all very much for tuning in to Elle Productions. I hope you will leave a comment or any thoughts that you have. Anytime you want to contact me.
Live long and prosper, man.
You take care.
All right.
Peace out.